Hey there. Looks like someone's getting ready for a Thanksgiving feast of football, that is. You've given us a whole playbook of articles on NFL Thanksgiving games, past and present.
Yeah, some real classics in here.
Let's huddle up and break down the traditions, the standout moments.
Yeah.
And of course, dive deep into this year's Thanksgiving matchups. Who knows? Maybe you'll even win some trivia with all this knowledge.
All right, I like it.
So, when did this whole Thanksgiving football tradition even start? I'm kind of curious.
Well, the first game kicked off way back in 1934.
Wow, that's a long time ago.
It was a bold move by George A. Richards, the owner of the Detroit Lions back then.
The Lions?
Yep, the Lions were a brand new team in Detroit, and Richards needed to get people excited.
Yeah.
You know?
And make a splash.
Exactly. He knew college football and baseball were the big draws at the time. So he decided to go head-to-head with Thanksgiving.
Really? On Thanksgiving?
Figuring people would be looking for some entertainment after that big meal.
I guess that makes sense. I mean, everyone's kind of full and looking for something to do.
Right. It was a gamble for sure.
So it paid off.
Big time. That first game against the Chicago Bears was a sellout, and it cemented the Lions as the Thanksgiving Day staple.
So that's how it all began. Pretty smart move.
Brilliant marketing strategy. Still paying dividends today?
But their record on Thanksgiving isn't exactly a winning streak, is it?
You're right. 37 wins, 45 losses, and 2 ties.
Yikes. Not exactly dominant.
But hey, this year they're 10-1. Could this be the year they finally turn things around?
Now that would be a story. But we can't forget about the other Thanksgiving mainstays, the Dallas Cowboys.
Of course, America's team has been a Thanksgiving fixture since 1966, with only a couple of brief exceptions in the 70s.
The Cowboys and Thanksgiving, it just feels right, you know.
They've become synonymous with the holiday, attracting huge viewership year after year.
And then to make it a true Thanksgiving football feast,
Yeah.
the NFL added that third primetime game back in 2006.
Yeah, they went all out.
Now they've even got a Black Friday game, too. Talk
Okay.
about football overload, but let's focus on the main course, those Thanksgiving Day matchups. What do we got?
Sounds good to me. First up, we've got the Chicago Bears traveling to Detroit to take on the Lions. Kickoff is Thursday at 5:30 p.m. And let's be honest, all eyes are on the Lions this year.
They're the Cinderella story of the season, aren't they? A 10-1 record and a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Their offense is on fire, and Jared Goff is playing like he's got something to prove.
He certainly does. But what's really fascinating is the system behind their success. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has been a revelation. The way he utilizes pre-snap motion and misdirection keeps defenses on their toes. And Goff is thriving in this system.
So it's not just about talent, it's about strategy. They've got the players and they've got the mastermind behind the plays. But can they keep this momentum going against a hungry Bears team?
The Bears are sitting at 4-7 with #1 pick Caleb Williams at the helm. He's had a bit of a rocky start to his NFL career, and they just fired their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron.
So they're going up against the #1 scoring offense on the road. With a rookie quarterback and a brand new offensive coordinator, that's a tall order.
It certainly is. But the Bears do have some weapons on offense, like running back DeAndre Swift and receivers DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. If Williams can connect with them and avoid those rookie mistakes, they might be able to keep it close.
Okay, next up, we've got a classic NFC East rivalry game. The Giants at the Cowboys kickoff is Thursday at 9:30 p.m., and this one's got more drama than a soap opera.
The Cowboys, America's team, are struggling this year. A 4-7 record and a defense that can't seem to stop anyone. They're ranked 27th in yards allowed and dead last in scoring defense, despite having Micah Parsons.
Yeah, what's going on with them?
And with Dak Prescott out for the season, head coach Mike McCarthy's seat is getting hotter by the minute.
Oh, talk about pressure.
This Thanksgiving game is practically a do-or-die situation for him.
And the Giants aren't exactly lighting the world on fire either. They're even worse at 2-9, and their quarterback situation is a revolving door of injuries. Do they even stand a chance in this game?
It'll be tough. The Giants have shown some sparks of life, but their offense is inconsistent, and their defense is prone to breakdowns. Dexter Lawrence has been a beast at nose tackle with 9 sacks, and rookie receiver Malik Neighbors has shown promise. But going up against a desperate Cowboys team on Thanksgiving night, it's an uphill battle for sure.
All right, let's move on to the nightcap. The Dolphins at the Packers kickoff is Friday at 1:20 a.m. But don't let the late start fool you. This game has all the ingredients for a thriller.
Absolutely. The Dolphins are fighting for a playoff spot. They're 5-6 after Tua Tagovailoa returned from injury and re-energized their offense. His connection with Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle is electric. They've won 3 in a row.
They're fun to watch, that's for sure.
But they're going up against a Packers team that's always tough to beat, especially at Lambeau Field. They're 8-3, and Jordan Love is settled into the starting quarterback role nicely.
Yeah, he's been solid.
It's a classic trap game for Green Bay.
How so?
It's coming off a big win, facing a seemingly weaker opponent, and have a tough divisional game against the Lions looming next week.
Ah, I see. They could be looking ahead.
Plus, they've got Xavier McKinney at safety, and he's having a monster year. He's tied for the league lead with 7 interceptions.
Whoa, a ball hawk.
McKinney's a ball hawk. He's got a knack for reading quarterbacks and making big plays. If Tua is not careful, he could single-handedly swing the game in Green Bay's favor.
So you're saying this one could go either way?
Don't count out the Dolphins. They're playing with a renewed sense of purpose with Tua back in the lineup. This one could go down to the wire.
Okay, so we've covered the 3 Thanksgiving games. But the NFL didn't stop there, did they? They've added a Black Friday game to the mix. This year, it's the Raiders at the Chiefs, kicking off at 8 p.m. Friday night. It feels like a David versus Goliath matchup.
You could say that the Chiefs, the reigning Super Bowl champs, are at the top of their game again, sitting at 10-1. But this season, they've shown some cracks in their armor.
You mean Patrick Mahomes throwing 11 interceptions?
That's one thing. But it's also about the supporting cast. They lost Rashee Rice early in the season to injury. And while they brought in DeAndre Hopkins, it took some time for him to get acclimated. They're still figuring things out on offense.
But even a slightly off Mahomes is still dangerous, right?
Of course. He's still a magician on the field. But it's worth noting that their defense has really been carrying them this year. Steve Spagnuolo, their defensive coordinator, has them playing lights out. So are the Chiefs as dominant as their record suggests? That's the question.
And then there are the Raiders. They're having a rough season at 2-9, and they've lost both their starting quarterback and star receiver Devontae Adams. Is there any hope for them in this game?
Realistically, not much. They're down to their third-string quarterback, and their offense is sputtering. They've got a bright spot in rookie tight end Brock Bowers, who's on pace to break some records. But facing that Chiefs defense on the road is a daunting task.
Even with Mahomes having a down year, statistically, it's hard to imagine them losing this one. But hey, stranger things have happened.
That's why we watch right.
Exactly. You never know what's going to happen on any given Sunday or Thursday or Friday for that matter.
Well said. Anything can happen.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll dive into how this Thanksgiving football tradition has evolved over the years. And trust me, it's more than just a couple of games. It's a whole cultural phenomenon, so stick around.
Welcome back to our Thanksgiving football deep dive. We've covered the origins and this year's matchups, but now I want to shift gears and talk about how this tradition has evolved over the years.
Yeah, it's become more than just a couple of football games, hasn't it? It's a whole cultural phenomenon.
Exactly. Remember? For decades, it was just the Lions hosting a single game. Then the Cowboys joined the party in the 60s, creating a doubleheader.
And then in 2006, we got that third primetime game, turning it into a full-blown triple header. Plus, now we've even got that Black Friday game added to the mix. It's a football feast that lasts the whole weekend.
And the viewership has skyrocketed along with it. These games consistently rank among the most watched television broadcasts of the year.
It's become a ritual for so many people. Families and friends gather around the TV, share a meal, and watch some football. It's about connection and tradition.
It's a shared experience that transcends the sport itself. It's woven into the fabric of American Thanksgiving.
And it's not just about the games themselves. It's the food, the commercials, the halftime shows. It's become a cultural touchstone.
Absolutely. Some of the most creative and memorable commercials debut during Thanksgiving football games. And the halftime shows have become major entertainment events featuring some of the biggest names in music.
It's like the Super Bowl of Thanksgiving, you know. But let's get back to the heart of it all. Why do you think Thanksgiving football holds such a special place in the hearts of so many?
I think it's a combination of factors. First, it's tradition. For generations, families have gathered on Thanksgiving to eat, relax, and watch football. It's a ritual, a way to connect with loved ones and celebrate the holiday.
It's also about community, right? These games create a sense of shared excitement even among strangers. It's something we can all talk about and bond over.
Exactly. And there's just something special about watching football on Thanksgiving. The atmosphere is different, more festive, the stadiums are decked out, the players are wearing special jerseys, and the fans are in a celebratory mood. It's a unique blend of sport and holiday spirit.
And let's not forget the food. It's hard to beat watching football while enjoying a delicious Thanksgiving feast.
It's all part of the experience.
Yeah.
The turkey, the stuffing, the pie, they all enhance the viewing experience.
It's the ultimate comfort food paired with the ultimate comfort sport. But beyond the food and the tradition, I think there's a deeper emotional resonance to Thanksgiving football.
I agree. It's a reminder of the things that are truly important in life. Family, friends, community, and gratitude. It's a time to reflect on the blessings in our lives and appreciate the simple joys, like watching a good game with people we care about.
It's a time to put aside our differences and come together. And what better way to do that than through the shared passion of football? Now, I want to talk about something we touched on earlier, the Dallas Cowboys and the America's Team label. Do you think that still holds true, especially given their struggles in recent years?
That's a question that sparks a lot of debate. The Cowboys' claim to that title stems from their dominance in the 70s and 90s when they won 5 Super Bowls and became a cultural phenomenon. They had iconic players, legendary coaches, and a fan base that stretched across the country. They embodied the spirit of American football.
But they haven't won a Super Bowl since 1995. And with their struggles this season, some people say they no longer deserve that title.
There are strong arguments on both sides. Some say their legacy and cultural impact are too significant to ignore, regardless of their recent record. They point to their continued popularity, their brand recognition, and their ability to generate headlines even when they're not winning.
Right. They're always in the news.
Others argue that the America's Team title should go to a team that's currently dominating, like the Chiefs, who've been to 3 straight Super Bowls and won 2 of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's really up to each individual to decide whether they believe the Cowboys still deserve that label. There's no right or wrong answer. It's all a matter of perspective.
Speaking of legacies, the Lions have become synonymous with Thanksgiving football, hosting a game every year since 1934. But as we mentioned before, their record on Thanksgiving isn't exactly stellar.
37 wins, 45 losses, and 2 ties. Not exactly a winning tradition. But this year, with their 10-1 record and Super Bowl aspirations, could this be the year they finally break the curse?
That would be a storybook ending to their incredible season.
It'd be a huge moment for the city of Detroit, for the organization, and for their loyal fans who've endured years of disappointment.
What do you think their chances are against the Bears? Can they finally slay the Thanksgiving dragon?
I wouldn't get against them. This Lions team is different. They're confident, they're playing with a swagger we haven't seen in years. But Bears are a young team with nothing to lose, so they could be dangerous if they play loose and capitalize on any mistakes the Lions make.
It's a classic Thanksgiving showdown. The established team with a chance to make history versus the underdog hoping to pull off an upset.
And that's what makes these games so compelling. No matter what the records are, you never know what's going to happen on Thanksgiving.
Before we move on, I want to touch on the addition of that Black Friday game. It's a sign of how the NFL is constantly evolving, isn't it?
Absolutely. The NFL is a business and a very successful one. They're always looking for ways to grow their audience and increase revenue. Black Friday is the biggest shopping day of the year, so they saw an opportunity to tap into that frenzy.
It's a smart move from a business standpoint, but do you think it will catch on with fans? It's a departure from tradition, and some might feel like it's overkill having football on both Thanksgiving and Black Friday.
It's definitely a change, and some people might resist it at first, but I think it has the potential to become another beloved tradition. It's an extra day of football, a chance to extend the Thanksgiving celebrations, and a great way to avoid those Black Friday shopping crowds.
I can definitely get behind that. Plus, it gives teams that don't typically play on Thanksgiving a chance to shine in the spotlight.
Exactly. This year, it's the Raiders and the Chiefs. It's a chance for them to create their own Black Friday legacy, to add another chapter to the Thanksgiving football saga.
And who knows, maybe in a few years we'll be talking about the most memorable Black Friday moments, just like we do with Thanksgiving.
It's a chance for new traditions to emerge, for new heroes to be made, and for the Thanksgiving football legacy to continue to grow.
And that's what's so exciting about this sport. It's constantly changing and arriving, always surprising us and always reminding us why we love it. All right, we've talked a lot about the evolution of Thanksgiving football. But now I think it's time to dig into some of the most memorable moments from Thanksgiving games past. You know, the ones that make you laugh, make you cry, and make you say, did that really just happen?
You talk about the iconic plays, the controversial calls, the unforgettable performances, the stuff of legends.
Exactly, the moments that become part of Thanksgiving football lore. So buckle up, folks, because we're about to take a trip down memory lane.
All right, so you want to talk about memorable Thanksgiving moments?
Yeah.
Let's go back to 1962. The Lions pull off a huge upset against the undefeated Green Bay Packers.
Packers undefeated.
Yep, Vince Lombardi's only loss that year.
Wow, that's gotta sting.
Talk about a Thanksgiving shocker. Then there's 1974. Clint Longley, a rookie backup quarterback for the Cowboys, comes in and throws 2 clutch touchdowns to win the game.
A rookie. come in clutch on Thanksgiving. That's a story for the ages.
It's the stuff of legend. And about 1980, the Lions and the Bears go into overtime for the first time ever on Thanksgiving.
Oh, man. Overtime on Thanksgiving. Gotta be intense.
And the Bears win it with a 95-yard kick return touchdown. Can you believe that?
A walk-off kick return on Thanksgiving. That's wild.
Now we got to talk about the infamous coin toss controversy in 1998.
Oh, yeah. Jerome Bettis and Phil Luckett. That was a mess.
Bettis calls tails. The coin lands on heads, but the ref says tails and awards the ball to the Lions. The Steelers lose the game, and it still sparks debate to this day.
Talk about a Thanksgiving controversy. That one's going to be talked about forever.
Absolutely. And who can forget Randy Moss's rookie dominance in 1998? 3 catches, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns against the Cowboys on Thanksgiving Day.
Randy Moss was unstoppable, especially on Thanksgiving.
Apparently, he announced his arrival to the world that day. Then there's Barry Sanders in 1997. The Lions running back puts on a show with 167 yards and 3 touchdowns against the Bears.
Barry Sanders. That guy was magic.
One of the greatest running backs of all time. And of course, we can't leave out the infamous butt fumble.
Oh, no, you're not bringing that up.
Mark Sanchez running into his own lineman's backside and fumbling the ball. It's become a Thanksgiving tradition to watch that clip and cringe.
Okay, we can move on from that one. I think we tortured Sanchez enough.
All right. But hey, it's all part of Thanksgiving football history. The good, the bad, and the downright hilarious.
You're right. It's the moments that make it memorable. We've talked about the history, the traditions, the evolution, the memorable moments, and even looked ahead to the future of Thanksgiving football. But as we get ready to enjoy the games this year, I think the biggest takeaway is the power of tradition and the way this sport brings people together.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
It's a time in family, friends, and community, a time to appreciate the simple joys and to create memories that will last a lifetime.
So to all our listeners out there, enjoy the games, cherish the moments, and let us know which Thanksgiving moment why you think is the most memorable. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a topic you're passionate about. Until then, happy Thanksgiving.